Welcome to THL's Monday Madness. On this show, we feature creative, competitive, and thematic challenges which push our players to innovate and create an entertaining viewing experience. Tonight, our challenges will be a best of five clash of classes and a best of five battle for Middle-earth, featuring Lord of the Rings inspired thematic choices for deck building. I'm your host tonight, Hector Howell. Joining me is Aroy. How are you doing tonight, Aroy?
I'm excellent, Hector Howe. Thanks for having me on today.
Fantastic. It's good to have you. Joining us as our players today, we have Jedi Ninja and Sir Spamsalot. Jedi, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be on this show. I've enjoyed watching it each week so far.
Awesome. We are so glad to have you. And Sir Spamsalot, how are you?
I'm doing great too. Excited to play.
All right. It's all right to have you here. I will apologize for any inconsistencies in my own casting. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but we're just going to roll right forward and not worry about that. We're going to start with our best of five Clash of the Classes. Now, the rules of this challenge. Mr. Jedi Ninja has brought 3 Paladin decks. Sir Spamsalot has brought 3 Mage decks. They're going to play a best of 5 in the standard format, and we will see who the victor is. Hey, Roy, do you have any comments before we get going?
I'm just really excited to see the battle of the classes.
All right, fantastic. All right, well, players, why don't you go ahead and mute yourselves? So, we're going into a Paladin versus Mage best of 5. Hey, Roy, what kind of decks do you think we'll be seeing here? I mean, obviously you know, but...
So as soon as I saw that he was playing Mage, the first thing I thought was like, all right, so what are the top 3 Mage classes in standard currently? You have Tempo Mage is like the number 1 played, and then you have Reno Mage and Freeze Mage. So I just assumed he'd bring some variants of those. The Paladin is where I'm really excited, though, because there's so many different variations of Paladin that you could bring. I thought for sure N'Zoth Paladin is probably going to get seen tonight. But the other two was like, I was unsure. Maybe Aggro Paladin or Anyfin. But those are the 3 that I would be more likely to. What about you?
Yeah, I was definitely thinking similarly along those lines, but I was definitely surprised by the 3rd deck alongside the N'Zoth and the aggro that we see. So I can't wait for you guys to see all that. All right. Here we go then, and we are seeing the N'Zoth Paladin against the Reno Mage to start off things. This hand from Spams. What do you think you're keeping here? Alright, what do you think? You think keep the Inventor in case you want to just get rid of shields, or you think the ping's good enough for that?
I'm currently only on Jedi, so you gotta give me a second.
Alright. As far as Jedi goes, we see a great start for him. That Doomsayer is conceivably going to relieve any early pressure provided by a faster mage, but we're not going to see that. So the Doomsayer is going to be, all right. But that Guardian on curve should be a great asset, and having a guaranteed activation is always good.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, these emotes, they're great. All right, that's good. I definitely like just ping passing over dropping a Doomsayer. If you're seeing a Novice Inventor, you pretty much know that the opponent isn't going to be playing a board control style. Though Reno can do many things. But it seems I was wrong here as we see the double ice barrier picked up. This is going to be the Freeze Mage.
Yep. Sure looks like it.
So clearly knowing both the decks now, where are you placing your predictions? Do you think the Freeze Mage is going to Paladin up, or do you think that the board control of an N'Zoth play is going to take over?
I think it really comes down to when Jedi uses his healing effects and if he draws them in time. Because like Forbidden Healing after a Alex Straza comes down is huge. Like
Of course.
usually the freeze mage has a really hard time finishing you off from there. So I actually think that Jedi is in a good position in this matchup, but freeze mage does have a lot of burst in it, so
Yeah,
anything can
I
happen.
will definitely favor the freeze mage here. Paladins, I mean, it's going to come down to the fact of, are we going to get a good Emperor off? And if we do, there's nothing Jedi can really do to stop it.
Yep.
And the fact is, the most surefire way to beat out a freeze mage is just constant pressure, and the Zoth Paladin doesn't do that. I feel like spam is just going to be able to lock down every high impact board that Jedi plays, and just Jedi's going to have a hard time going face. Now, the Ashbringer may actually play into that very significantly, but he's going to have to start doing damage soon.
Yeah, Jedi need to
Fascinating
just get
thing
some
about,
minions on board.
Yeah, the fascinating thing about a turn like this from Jedi is that it plays towards Spam's game plan as well. Spam's like, oh, okay, you're going to nuke the board? That's fine, I'll play 2 secrets.
Yeah, I almost would have rathered him play the Wild Pyro that turn, potentially, just to try to get some aggression going.
Yeah, what's he need to kill with equality in Freeze Mage?
There's only really 2 targets. You have Emperor and you have Alex Raza normally.
Occasionally you'll see an Archmage or a Malagos, but yeah, by that point you're dead anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think playing these Pyros out is a good decision. We'll see if he goes with it, or we'll see if he plays the more high impact Sylvanas, which will most likely pull out a removal spell. Though honestly, Spam could probably just let it sit there. And his chance to top deck Emperor is only 1 in 18, so it's not really rushing it.
And Sir Spam's hand's a little awkward because of him having all the traps, but it's also really good because that means if at any point Jedi starts to really put on pressure, he can just drop the other ice block and lay down the ice barrier and have back-to-back ice barriers for him to set up his burst.
You forget about how strong Freeze Mage is when you're playing in a super tempo meta where there's just constant pressure that Freeze Mage can't really handle. This is a really scary deck in this case.
I agree 100%.
All right, so let's see here. Jedi can deal with the board without question, but he can also start applying pressure to the face, specifically with that Sylvanas, because he's got 1 kill with the Blackring Corruptor, and then he could clean up the other target. I definitely think applying 5 or conceivably 5 to face is better.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't worry about the minions too much because they're not really going to do anything in this situation. Like, and even if he waits a turn to clean them up, like getting 5 to the face is very relevant as the game progresses.
Perhaps shot that 3 to the face as well?
So I think you have to kill the Acolyte because you can't give him 2 pings off of it, or 3 total.
That's at least a low impact burn, but it's a burn nonetheless. So he chooses to clean up, actually spying the fact that there's too many cards in Sir Spam's lot hand. Something we didn't spy at all.
No, we did not.
But, to be fair, casters are dumb, players are smart. That's the general way of things. But let's look at this turn from Sir Spam's lot amongst all his billions of cards. I like just dropping your Forgotten Torch here because it allows you to curve into Alex Straza next turn. Now, if he does that, he is opening himself up to the Paladin healing a ton. So I don't think he will. I think he definitely wants to save that until he has absolute OTK the turn after. So basically, once he's gone through probably about 6 or 7 more cards in his deck, that's probably when we'll see the Emperor. But if we see it earlier, then Jedi's in real trouble. But at this rate, Jedi really just needs to add pressure to that board. And it looks like he's contemplating holding back the Rag until he gets a full value heal.
which I think is right. Because in this matchup, you just can't. Got to make sure your health stays as close to 30 as possible.
Right, and he just saw a board clear, so he's probably not hesitating too much to play out those wild pyromancers. I definitely think he should play out at least one. But you know what I actually like here more? I like the Coin Ysera.
Yeah, I definitely like that play because like you're close to 10 mana, or crystals. You don't really need to coin out anything later. He might be thinking to keep it for wild pyro, but there's nothing really to clear in this matchup. So
Here comes the uncurved Alexstrasza, threatening the lethal, forcing him to have both a way to deal with Alexstrasza and a heal.
which now that coin's gonna be very relevant.
Yeah, definitely. It's absolutely going to be relevant. Though he could have cleaned up if he had the Ysera as well. But this Ragnaros will probably save him, and it's going to be, let's see, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Spamsalot to deal with that Ragnaros. That's going to be a huge card in this matchup.
Yeah, it has to be something that he gets rid of very soon because getting full heals out of that will just take the game heavily favored towards Jedi.
Yeah. For me while I hold down some logistics here.
Yep. It's like he's gonna go with Frost Nova Doomsayer. Which. So do you like pinging the rag here to try to give? Yep, there he does it. So that way rag will heal himself instead of face, hopefully.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Was just checking out a report that the stream was down. It was a false one. We are live. I'm just gonna post that on Facebook. Make sure the world knows. So what's going on here? What are you thinking, Ray?
So I think it's just going to be a pass go turn for Jedi, and then on Sir Spamsalot turn, he's really hoping to pick up the Emperors soon. There's not much. Like I guess you could.
Report here from the back end. The card between Equality and Forbidden Healing is only showing the card back. Okay, so that is a second Wild Pyromancer. For those on the stream who can't see. Yeah, so I think we really haven't given justice to how cool this deck is. This is a Dragon Paladin with N'Zoth. It's a cool thing, and I like it. Don't necessarily like it in this matchup per se, but I think it's going to do really well against the faster variants of Mage that Spam has brought.
Well, it's actually
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the slower one he's got.
So I think it would have been fine if he drew the earlier game pressure from the dragon part of it, because he does have, if I remember correctly, he had 2 of the technicians in it.
Yes.
And we've now seen both Twilight Guardians. So the dragon version does have a little bit more pressure, in my opinion, than just straight N'Zoth Paladin. Which does make it a little bit better against Freeze Mage.
Right. So I'm actually noticing, in retrospect here, a little bit of a misplay. The Consecration was thrown out for 2 damage. If he had kept it, what he could have done was played Equality Consecrate to kill the last Doomsayer, guaranteeing a rag heal on the face and letting the rag live. Now, I'm not sure if he actually would have done so, but it was an option he did not have.
Yeah, that might have made a difference because that means that he would have had to use another removal spell on both of those minions.
All right. So as is, we're actually seeing an interesting game state where Spam can't really do too much. Now, he did just draw a Fireball, so I think he's probably going to throw this Emperor down, but he can't really do much about this board. He's got an exclusive Frost Nova, he's got no Flame Strike and no Blizzard, and no Doomsayer in sight. So, right now, the game is definitely in Jedi's favor. But that could change very quickly. Let's see how much damage is here in hand.
Well, the problem is he has nothing to pair well with the Ice Lance currently either.
He's got a Frostbolt.
Oh, yeah. It was hiding between the Ice Block and the Fireball. I mean, it looked like the Frost Nova for a second.
22. So he's got 22 burn in hand. Can he play it all out in one turn? I think so. He's reading this, and he is starting the burn. Hoping probably for a Forgotten Torch. And he's going to slow down the game with Frost Nova. I like this. This will come a lot down to what is drawn here by Spam Slot, but that's a great draw from Jedi. True Silver Champion really going to allow him to stay above a life total that Spam wants to get him to. And it's going to chip in some damage as well.
Yeah, especially this turn when he can't really attack with his minions. Adding 4 more damage over the course of 2 turns, so 8 total, is really helpful against Freeze Mage.
That just means he has to do 23.
So why do you think Jedi didn't attack there?
That's a good question. Maybe he's afraid of Doomsayers, or Doomsayer, or he really wants to be able to do with that Tharasan, and he's worried he's going to get his word for. No, that's not going to happen. So I don't know. I personally would have attacked. I don't know if he'll attack now. I sense that he might. No, he's thinking about making the trade. I think that's better. Looking to throw in the 3/5 in to maintain the integrity of his Guardian. Okay.
I kind of like that. Keeping the bigger minions just in case he runs a Flame Strike. And the other Blizzard will, or if he runs another Blizzard, will pick off the 1/1s. So getting rid of them isn't really a problem.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to put out this Ysera here.
Alright, Sarah. If not dealt with, this is going to be a slew of powerful cards. Some of which will have no impact at all. I think this is a one time you really don't want Ysera Awakens. Thank goodness he didn't get it. Card between Doomsayer and Fireball is also not viewable. What's up?
It's not viewable on my end either.
Really? I'm seeing 2 Ice Lances in hand, which are currently being thrown at the face of the Paladin, as the Paladin explodes horribly. And that was quite a wreckage, as the Forgotten Torch was drawn, or the Roaring Torch, rather. And the Mage goes 1-up in the series.
Yeah, looking back, I guess Richard or Jedi could have just used the Forgotten Healing there to try to raise his life total to 30 to get it out of more burn range, since he did just drop Emperor.
Yeah. That probably would have been a safer play. It's sometimes hard to know, though, because Freeze Mage has a lot of clunky cards, and sometimes if you don't draw your burn correctly and you're forced to expend it early, you just don't have as much damage. Fortunately, that was such a slow deck on Jedi's end that Spam was really just able to accumulate that burn, slowly control the board, and do exactly what Freeze Mage does, which is blow the other guy the fuck up.
Burst you into oblivion. Okay. So these are interesting. It's going to be an interesting matchup.
Okay, here's the Aggro Paladin against the Reno Mage. This could go either very well for the Paladin or very badly. It's going to depend on how fast the start is, how consistent the follow-up is, and how much the Mage bricks. Right now he's got a fantastic removal spell, and a fantastic board clear, and a fantastic card draw tool. This is really not looking too great for the Paladin, who's starting off with a 2/2 for 2. Yeah, this is This is a slow start, but there's a lot of burn in this Paladin deck, and if no Reno is drawn, I think he will be able to burn out the Mage.
Yeah, this is a rough start for Jedi here. So, the only thing I noticed in the mulligans too, that the Mage Sir Spamsalot decided to get rid of the acidic swamp ooze. Do you think that was correct, knowing he was still playing against Paladin and with how many weapons Paladin normally run?
Certainly an interesting decision. I imagine it was done with the thought that he doesn't really want to curve into that, and he'd rather have another option for a card to curve into, and that ooze would be coming into the play later, probably to blow up an Ashbringer, which Tyrion is in this aggro Paladin deck, but he may regret throwing it out. He definitely may. Now, since this is a Conquest format, Jedi Ninja does know that this is no longer Freeze Mage, so he's probably reading the Reno immediately. And what can you do against Reno? Burn him down as much as you can. So that's what I think his game plan is here. This is kind of a strange turn here. He's got the on-curve True Silver, which would either horribly overkill that Acolyte or provide 4 to face. You could play the Lance Carrier and a Guy, which would allow him to get rid of that Acolyte. Or he could even play the Rallying Blade, which is more efficiently deals with the Acolyte and gives you some damage to face. To be honest, I kind of like that play. I mean, there is the Argent Horse Rider, but yeah.
Yeah, I
I mean,
kind of
there's
like
definitely value in staying on curve with this. What do you think?
Yeah, all three of the plays were solid. Like, he could have Lance carried the Silent Knight to attack in. But I think the best plays were either True Silver or the Rallying Blade. I personally would have liked the Rallying Blade just for an extra damage to face.
Sure.
But
He does have a more
True
powerful
Silver's-
swing coming up now, though. Oh boy, this
Yes.
could be horrible. Ooh, it could have been a lot worse. Yeah, Jedi is certainly feeling that. Like, ooh, man, that was almost real bad here. So this turn he's playing the Argent Horse Rider and the Lance Carrier. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a clean clear on that Kodo, but I don't think that's what he should do. I honestly think his best game plan right now is to slam that Lance Carrier on the Silent Knight, slam the Argent Horse Rider, and just smork. Go face. I mean, that's going to be your win condition, and it's unlikely that the Mage will have Frost Nova Doomsayer. He has Frost Nova Doomsayer. But I think it's the best path to victory. But he's going to choose to make the more conservative play. And, I mean, maybe that'll pay off, especially due to the fact that he's not going to have that. Well, no, the Kodo would have died, though. So, yeah. I think he might be okay, because the deck's low. Deck has Tyrion,
Yeah.
deck has the Commander.
He
But,
does
man,
have some top-end cards.
this is going to hurt. He's going to have to skip a whole turn. And that Divine Shield's going to do nothing against the Doomsayer.
Yeah, pretty much you can draw
Yeah, I think
4
drawing
cards?
is the best option here.
4 cards.
3 mana draw 4, that's pretty good, right?
And he did draw the Tyrion for 2 turns from now.
That's going to make a big difference. Now, do you think because of that, we see a face swing with this weapon?
Yep.
So I assume we're seeing an on-curve Sylvanas here. The Water Elemental could be big.
I think it's Water Elemental just to stop the weapon from swinging, any more weapons swinging.
Sure.
You can
Now,
keep a Water Elemental online. It's pretty good.
do keep in mind we've already seen 2 True Silvers? And the Rallying Blade.
Oh, yeah. So there's not too much left.
Yeah, so this is an interesting play because it's going to put a lockdown on this 3/1 weapon. And it's going to put Spam in a position of stalling the game out. So I think... Yeah, and he's got that blast, so he can clear stuff. What do you feel about this turn for Jedi Ninja here, Aroy? How would you approach it?
So if he wants to start going face, he could drop the Argent Commander and like Argent Squire and just go face, just to try to put on as much pressure as possible to set up like maybe a Leroy Blessing of Kings OTK turn.
Yeah.
But just developing the board and putting out more minions for him to try to have to deal with.
Oh god, he's gonna get MC teched.
Yep.
Oh god. So I think what I actually like there is playing the Silent Knight Blessing the Kings, because you've already seen a Doomsayer. Oh wow, that was a close one. Yeah, sadly you're not getting enough shield from that. But if you play the Kings on that 2/2, you're looking at a 6/6 that's gonna definitely be able to hit next turn, which is pretty good. All right, this is the crucial turn. What is coming down from Jedi here? Are we seeing the Blessing Keeper? Or are we seeing Tyrion?
I think it might be Blessing on the Silent Knight just to clear off the Water Elemental so he can use his weapon to clear next turn or do some base damage.
Yeah. That's good. And note, because of the Divine Shield, it did not take damage, so it is not freezed by the Water Elemental. That's a not very common ruling that some people don't know. Yeah, part of me says he should have played more aggressively there, but we're nearing about halfway through the deck, so it's likely that Reno is in hand for spam, so I do think the conservative play will be more rewarding.
Absolutely. I think at this point in the game, he's a little bit past the Smork option, and he has to actually be aware of Reno at any time. So getting out as much damage as possible, especially since he already saw the Frost Nova Doomsayer combo. As long as his minions are decent size now, he doesn't have to worry about full clears too much.
Right. Yeah, I think he's on the right path here. We're going to see a Flame Lands clear that 6/6, which is very respectable. And it's looking like an Arcane Blast ping to deal with a 3/3. Alternatively, you could trade in, deal with a 3/4. So I think, actually, that... Well, no, wait. There's a Polymorph. I was going to say that Jedi's favored. But that Polymorph changes things big time.
Yeah, that Polymorph sitting in his hand
oh, man. He's just taking
now.
a swig, just like, play your Tyrion, mate. Just play it. I dare you. And I think it's coming down. I mean, it makes sense on curve. But the other play here is actually very good as well. We've seen an MC Tech, no problem with 4 minions. Commander, hero, guy, face, face, face.
Yep.
Applying pressure to Reno decks, even with a Reno in hand, is good because it's forcing that Reno play. And Reno is a good play, but there are downsides to it. Now we've also seen a little bit less than half the deck, and a Polymorph wouldn't have been capped, so he is going to rely on the fact that there is no Polymorph, and sadly there is. But I mean, 1/1's pretty good, right?
Yeah, 1/1s aren't bad. It makes him use his hero power on him. When Jedi played that Tyrion, you saw Ken smile like, I got this Polymorph waiting.
Yeah. Now he's actually considering another option here. He has multiple ways to deal with this Tyrion. As in, he can try and steal it, or he can try and blow up the Ashbringer here, which would give him more cards, which could give him more survivability and victory options. Polymorph still seems the best, but you do have to ask the question, after I Polymorph, what's my game plan? Paladin still has a board. He's probably calculating, can the Paladin kill me right now if I just Polymorph?
Yeah,
it's like he's going to do the Polymorph, he's going to hope for that 50-50, and he misses it. Okay, no, Sylvanas. I actually really like that in certain aspects, but it's also very risky in others. As
Jedi just has lethal.
Yeah, I mean, he's hoping the Paladin doesn't have 5 damage, which usually from 1 card it doesn't. But he's got 3 cards, and in this case, there's the Leroy. Oh, there's the reaction. Oh no, what have I done? I didn't play my Reno. Always get rich, boys. When you have the option, always get rich.
Yep.
We are
absolutely
being pulled into a 1/1 in this series, and we're gonna go again. So the Aggro Paladin stake in the game. Yeah, what do you find interesting about the upcoming matchups?
So what I find interesting about those last two matchups, though, is both of them had the healing to get out of lethal range the turn before they died.
Right, we see greedy play punishing both players, both teams, which is very interesting. I believe they're giving some friendly regards and queuing up their.
So what do you expect to see next coming from Jedi side?
Yeah, so Jedi's got his dragon is off and his I'm not. Uh-oh, my mic
Right.
is my mic okay?
Yeah, your mic started to cut out there for a second, Hector.
Oh well, I was just fumbling around with how wrong I was when I was saying, oh, it's Dragon N'Zoth and Conventional N'Zoth. No, I'm a fool. That'd be boring. We've got OTK Paladin here, and that's going to be the last deck that Jedi saves to serve Sir Spams a lot. But for now, what we're seeing is a requeue of the Reno Mage and a requeue of the Dragon Paladin. So obviously wanting to maintain deck secrecy as far as the others go, and probably because they feel good about these decks. Now, how do you feel
Look
about
at
this
both.
matchup?
So I think both decks have very good possibility of beating each other here. I want to go with Jedi because I think his long game plan is a little bit more solid with N'Zoth.
Right.
But Reno Mage can just win the game. Like they burst you down, or they could just have a good board going.
Do you think I'd be crazy to say this entire match might come down to polymorph?
Possibly, because
In this deck of wonderful dragons, we have a Deathwing Dragon Lord, and that card is bonkers. But it's not if it's a sheep. So if Jedi spends his whole turn playing a sheep and cutting 4 mana off of Spam's turn, then that N'Zoth's not going to resurrect it, and it's not going to pull dragons. But if he dodges the polymorph, if he can get Spams a lot to polymorph something earlier in the game, or if he simply doesn't have it, then that's going to be incredible amounts of power on Jedi's board. I'm really excited about this.
I am too. I hope that we see a N'Zoth from Jedi into a MCT because that would just make my night. But I hope it doesn't come down to that.
Oh no! Don't even remind me about MCT stealing big. Oh my god! One of my more hated cards in Hearthstone.
Oh, it's one of my more favorite though.
Oh my god! It's the fucking worst. I mean, it's no implosion, but it's bad.
This is true.
All right. What is the turn from Spams a lot? He has Blood Mage, Frostbolt. Doesn't want to play the Use. He's got a Forbidden Flame. He's got the MCT. What option?
So, like, I think it has to be. He might not even play the Blood Mage. He might just Hero Power plus Frostbolt kill the Azure Drake. Because like holding the Blood Mage for when you Flame Strike later might be more useful. Since he has seen a Dragon Consort in the list before, which is a 5/5. But
he's not playing anything.
No, he just pinged the minion.
I almost would have liked to see that Frostbolt come down on the Azure Drake, because that lines you up to ping it next turn. You don't really have a super high tempo play on 6, so I'd be okay with that. And I honestly feel like when it comes to Dragon Paladin, Your goal is to get them off the board, because once they have the board, they can snowball their advantage and just use these really high-value minions to take over the game. But if you're in a situation where they don't have a board and they're just playing these minions out one by one, you can supplement your removal with a ping. And that ping is pretty much going to remove all of the extra value on a lot of these dragons. Well, figure not no. Ping's not really going to do much against dragon. But I believe that getting dragon.
So why do you think he chose to kill the Azure Drake instead of the consort there?
It's got to be spell damage. I mean,
But the only spell damage that Pally really runs is Consecrate, and 3 damage at this point in the game, I don't feel like Jedi is just going to throw out there for an entire turn.
I think that's a misplay, honestly. He had a situation where he could kill a 5/5 or a 4/4 with spell damage, or 5/4. That extra 1 attack is going to matter, and extra 1 spell damage is going to mean literally nothing. You need to cast 2 spells to go over that threshold, and they need to be at face. So, I mean, maybe Spam is feeling scared of getting burned out by Holy Wrath, but I really can't think of many other options for that decision.
So, and the other thing to think about, too, is if he killed the consort last turn, he potentially could have just put out Geddon this turn and not worried about it dying except for the Azure Drake plus something else to kill it.
You're right. Yeah,
but now he just can't put out Geddon either because it'll just die to the Dragon Consort.
Yes, but he did line himself up for a Flame Strike, and I think that's what he was looking at. And I think he's looking at it now going, I know that Dragon has more stuff they can put on the board. Do I have to Flame Strike right now to stay alive? And he does it. He's got no Reno. He's got Noise Block.
The other option he could have done too was Flame Lance plus Hero Power to just pick off the threats. But I think he's trying to save the Flame Lance for a really big minion.
Yeah. I mean, he has no idea that this Dragon Lord's coming.
Eventually.
I don't doubt that we'll get to that point. These 2 decks are not proactive decks outside of, Nazov. And maybe Antonidas. But the game keeps going like this. We're going to see that Dragon Lord, and it's going to be glorious.
What do you think Jedi is setting up with the Doomsayer for next turn?
Couldn't tell you, to be honest. I mean, Sylvanas, he probably wants to hold until there's a thing. I guess just an Azure Drake. He's hoping out of 2 draws he pulls something that's 4 or 5 mana to go along with it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is at this point of the game where you say if they have a minion on board, they're likely going to be able to kill my Doomsayer with a little bit of removal because minions are pretty big. So, honestly, I think that his mindset is, I don't think I'll be able to use Doomsayer later.
Actually,
Spam off the board now is good.
There's also one more thing, is Sir Spamsalot now has 10 cards in hand. So he has to play a spell this turn no matter what.
Wow.
So it might have been Jedi trying to set up to make Sir Spamsalot play into the Doomsayer rather than just accept the Doomsayer.
Interesting. This is very interesting. So I'll ask you this then. Do you think that... I mean, Jedi can't even do it. He's just going to pass. Make a guy for Frost Giant, hit phase, pass.
Yeah, pretty much.
You never know about those Frost Giants.
Randomly come down one day. So now Sir Spamsalot has the potential. He could just develop the Archmage here in Frostbolt, or he could just play the Geddon and like Hero Power, which it looks like he's going to take that line.
Sure. We currently have 11 watching us on twitch.tv/Team Hearth League. Reach out to your friends, guys, if you're enjoying the show. Let's get some more people in here. It's a fun night. We've got some really cool stuff brewed up for you during the second half. But as far as this half goes, Geddon is making a statement about the board. That's for sure. He's forcing some kind of response from Jedi, and honestly, there's not too many clean responses. You know what he could do? He could play True Silver, Pyromancer, Forbidden Heal, and that's gonna, bump him up 3-6 life, which is gonna cover most of the recoil from Geddon. It's gonna clean up the Geddon and leave him with a weapon.
Well, the other option you could have done too is just Peacekeeper, make it attack 1, and just left it on the board to ping the mage player down a little bit too.
Yeah, that's true. That would definitely be the more aggressive line of play. But I don't know that he has too much to add pressure here. I mean, his Sylvanas and Peacekeepers are mostly reactive. Anyone who wants to tell me that Azure Drake is an aggressive card is crazy. And I think this lines up fine with this game plan.
I don't know.
Acidic Swamp Ooze. It's looking like... Now, is there a Tyrion in this deck? Let me check that for you guys.
He's running N'Zoth. He has to be running Tyrion. Come on now.
It's certainly likely, but you never know about what cards get cut. Let me see if I can check up on that right now. Okay. Smork. There's the N'Zoth. So he now will probably feel more free in playing Sylvanas. Pardon me a moment here. I am just trying to get deck lists up on my screen. Alright, I think I got him. Alright. But look at this board. How are you feeling about this game state right now, Aroy?
I think that Acidic Swamp Ooze is making it very awkward for Jedi.
Yeah, besides the apparent concede from Sir Spamslot as he walks away. Okay, he's playing out Naldor. I like it. It puts an amount of pressure onto Spamslot, and it's going to force some kind of reaction. I think that part of that reaction is going to be a Firelance Portal. Very cool new card we've got here. And we got a potential Frostbolt coming down to the field, freeze the 3/3 up, but I think the Blizzard is a much better play.
It clears the board, and let's Jedi start, or let's our Spamslot start being aggressive.
That's right.
Well, and we haven't really seen any Death Rattles yet die this game either for the N'Zoth.
Right, not too much there. I think I may have finally found the Paladin decks.
Yep, his Tyrion, Sylvanas, Deathwing, Dragon Lord.
Oh,
it looks like those are the only 3 Death Rattles in the deck.
Only 3? I mean, those are some pretty good Death Rattles.
They are, absolutely.
So this Kabbalist Tome is given some pretty weak spells, to be honest. Wow. I mean, the Blood Mage is actually making something out of them, but not against this board.
Spellbender is not going to do anything against it, is it? It's only when a spell's cast. So yeah, unless he decides to cast Forbidden Healing on a minion for some reason.
Do we have a Humility at all in Jedi Ninja deck? Let's see here.
No, not in this list. Nope.
So I don't know if there's any targeted spells that are going to be cast on minions. That Spellbender is going to be super dead.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I guess like if Ysera comes down and gets a like a dream or something.
Okay. Yes.
Then it could potentially matter.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you like the arcane explosion here?
Hmm.
Puts that to 3, so you can trade ping. You're gonna have 1 health on Sylvanas, so you would trade into that. Huh. You could drop the blast as well. Blast trade
Yeah,
Frostbolt is a good option.
you could do a full clear here.
Yeah. Okay, he's doing the arcane explosion with the blast. Now, the downside to playing this blast is he's now got just Frostbolt for Antonidas. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've got a bit of a guest on the stream here. Everyone say hello to Sir Spamslot's cat.
And don't forget Jedi's baby.
I mean, I think we've both got some animal companions here from our players. One of them a bit more humanoid than the other. But the non-humanoid one's, I'd say, a bit more active. It's pretty exciting. We seem to have picked the perfect time to have both these guys on. So it's a fair and balanced game, you know? I mean, baby, cat, they're pretty comparable.
Yeah, it's like a 2v2 right now.
Yeah, I think so. Looks like that cat is giving some fantastic advice to Spams right now.
Yep.
He's saying, hey, if he plays this, play that. Make sure the stream doesn't hear. Yeah, he's acknowledging the advice. Whereas, oh my gosh, that baby is just not helping at all. I mean, look at that. It's just sitting there. It's like, play your own game, Dad. All right. It's definitely going to come to the polymorph now. Where do you think the polymorph will be employed?
Polymorph. Well, there's some big targets to actually hit in the Paladin deck. You have what? Tyrion, Ysera, and the Dragon Lord. So you have 3 huge targets.
Gross. And Jedi's definitely going to want it on one of those 2 legendaries in hand. I think we'll just see Frostbolt Firelands used on the Light Lord. But he's going to have to deal with that Ysera somehow, so I think that if we can get these legendaries rolling out soon, it's going to be very good for Ninja.
Did Jedi play either of his wild pyros yet? Yeah, he played 1 at least, because he did the Forbidden Healing. But I think he still has 1 more in his deck.
So with this, Harrison played on the True Silver with 1 charge. I think we're seeing 2 things. I think we're seeing Spam doesn't really want to get to fatigue that quickly. And I think that we're seeing he thinks he's got a locked-in polymorph on the Tyrion. Ysera's going to change that. And then Rag's going to change that further. So I think we're seeing the Rag here. I think we're seeing a face. And one thing I did comment on was the Aldor was played last turn because he had no idea what that secret is. And Mirror Entity, one of these big legendaries, would probably be counted as a throw.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He had baited out the secret probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are looking pretty good on time so far. I think that some of the decks in the second challenge are going to be a little bit faster than we're seeing here. But don't get me wrong. I love these slow matchups. I feel like there's honestly a ton more strategy in slow Hearthstone than there is in play Alex Strauss' champion, play Fiery War Axe, curve out, win game. Oh, Hearthstone's so hard. So I think the question here is, are we going to see that Frostbolt spent or conserved? He can use the Twilight Drake to finish off. Okay.
Looks like he's just going to throw Harrison at it.
Oh, yeah. I was totally not thinking about that fireball.
I thought for a second he might have Firelands Portal plus Frostbolt, but I think that would have been a waste of resources.
Probably, yeah. Alright, he wants the 3/5 value. Okay. What else is he doing
So
this turn?
yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, so
Right.
you have a perfect opportunity here with just a Twilight Drake on board to get down the Ysera and start developing, and you already know that the secret wasn't mirror entity. So why do you think he chose to go with the Blackwing Technician there?
I think it's greed, to be honest. And woo, that's a big 5/6.
That is a big 5/6.
That's a good pull from the portal. Yeah, I think that's actually going to be a huge problem for Jedi. Just allowing spam to start applying pressure, which, given that Ronin in hand, is a big deal.
Well, we now do see Deathwing in hand.
But doesn't look like he's playing it.
No, I don't think he can at this point. Like 9 damage is a lot. Like we did see Fireball, and we have seen Portal now, so the amount of burn left in the Mage deck isn't too high. So I think now Jedi's thinking he just wants to play a better long game than Sir Spamslot.
Uh-oh, we gotta pause the stream. We've got some unfair advantage for Sir Spamslot. He now has 2 cats, as opposed to Jedi Ninja's 1 baby. I don't know what we're gonna do here. I mean, we may have to disqualify him for that. That's a clear breach in conduct for THL.
It is.
Uh-oh, it looks
Jedi-
like Jedi may be getting some full-grown assistance, though. She's saying, just be careful. Watch out for polymorph. And he's saying, okay, I got you. And then the dog's just saying, face, face, face.
So now it's a 4-3.
Yeah. I don't know about this. I mean, it's really unfair here. But
Players
realistically,
just
what is Spam's play? He's got to do something to take the board back.
Yeah, he is getting low. He is at 9 life now, and still no Reno.
Still no Reno. He's in the last 5. That's incredible, and that's certainly not an ice block. So do you think you like the Ronin or the 2 guys here, or the 1 guy?
Yeah, I think he's trying to watch his fatigue. I don't know why he would just jam a water elemental there, though. I feel like I would play Ronin.
Right.
To at least bait out like the other equality or something. Because there's not a lot of direct removal in Paladin. Unless he's worried about and he can't be worried about Humility Kodo because Spellbender.
I mean, maybe we're wrong. It looks like those cats were just sabotaging him. Maybe that was a badly influenced play.
And he did get the dream. So
it's the dream!
So that Spellbender might actually do something.
I mean, it's kind of like Mulch, if Mulch always added a 1/3 to your hand.
So if this Polymorph comes down, that means that Deathwing Dragonlord can feel free to just drop.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this. Deathwing, I think that Deathwing is one of the coolest villains in Warcraft, and it's just a tragedy that he doesn't see more play. Though he has been in Dragon Warrior lately, so maybe I'm just being silly. But this Dragonlord variant is so cool, and I can't wait to see it played. This Dream is going to come down here and probably figure out the secret.
I kind of feel like if he's going to do that, he definitely needs to lead with the Dream, just to see if he can bounce the water elemental or not.
Right. Well, it's time to put our faith in the light, and a not polymorph boar. But I don't think.
Yeah, losing the polymorph was huge. We did just see Sylvanas stop decks over there.
Yeah.
So on Sir Spamslot, does he have any way to actually just kill it right away? It doesn't look like it.
What he can do is he can Frostbolt a 1/1, though that's really shitty. Ooh, I like this Frost Nova. I like this a lot.
Yes, this is really good.
Again, I mean, blind casters. I mean, I think it's also worthy of note that I believe the stream's point of view is from Sir Spamslot's perspective, so they're seeing these things like, what a bunch of dopes. Of course you Frost Nova. It's not even a question. And we're sitting here looking at the dragons like, dragons.
Huh. So now that like usually this dream would feel really good, but like with him having the spellbender, this might actually mess up Jedi's plan a little bit. Because like one option he could do would be dream Sylvanas and then just develop the Dragon Lord or another big threat.
Right. And have we seen the spell
Yeah.
since that secret was played? It's
No.
definitely key that the stream comes first. Spellbender's not often played, so it's good that he's doing this first. That hopefully he's remembering that Spellbender. He's got to play fast, and I think that the play here is a Guy Equality Consecrate. It's gonna give him only a 1 in 4 to steal your Tyrion.
I think I agree because like he has to do something.
Doing that.
He has to do something to give him a minion because he does know mind control tech is in Sir Spam's deck. So he has to. Oh my god.
Oh man, and he totally wins that 50-50.
That was just glorious for Jedi because I have to say Jedi's playing really well against around mind control tech too there. By doing that play, because if he dropped just like say if he just dropped Dragon Lord there and developed the board, then Sir Spamslot would have been able to steal 2 minions, which would have been huge.
Oh yeah. I also think this is really interesting because this is the point where I think you ask yourself a philosophical question. Am I okay with him taking my 5/4? Am I? Because both cases, there's a 25% chance that Tyrion stole it. One case, it's a chance to get a 1/1, a 5/4, but you get to keep 6 health on your Tyrion and the 5/4 sticks. So, Jedi definitely went greedier play here, which I think says a lot about this. The game. A lot about it player. And that's gonna be it.
Yeah, so I think the better play there would have been to attack the water, ping the Tyrion, attack the water elemental into it, and then frostbolt the 5/4. Because then Tyrion would still be alive, and that would give you a turn to draw your Reno, because you never saw Reno.
Last 2 cards of the deck. If anything deserves that's incredible, that does. Wow, I mean, how unlucky is that? I'm honestly kind of feeling bad for Spams this time. Usually I don't feel bad for people who don't have Reno, but that's just tragic.
That is.
I mean, the true tragedy really is we didn't get to see Deathwing Dragon Lord, but it was a cool game.
That was definitely a fun game, and I was really hoping to see that Deathlord come down and end it, but it ended up working out for Jedi. So, how do you feel about this matchup, though?
Well, I think Hammer of Wrath is a very interesting tech choice, and I'm honestly not quite sure why I included it. I think Humility may have been better than that, but nonetheless, it's neat. This matchup is definitely better than his Tempo Mage matchup. So, obviously, Spam's a lot having the instant realization, oh, I have to win both these games, send the one that he's already seen in first. If I lose, the series is shorter, I have more time in my life. So he plays in the Reno Mage. Now, I think what's going to be interesting here is how quickly Spam makes the read of what kind of deck this is. So, obviously the Murlocs are a straight tell. But I think they suspect, if you think about big Paladin archetypes, besides what he's seen already, I think the only things left are either Secret Paladin, which I know Alec GW Podcast, who was on the show a few weeks ago, is a fan of. He brought that to one of our first challenges. You could play other Old God Paladins. You could play a Cthulhu Paladin, a Reno Paladin.
A Reno Paladin?
A Reno Paladin. I mean, Heliodin was a thing. Looking at this, I really like the Doomsayer here. That's going to be super impactful. I mean, obviously denying the draw, which is going to be big, because this deck wants to draw. And Jedi really has nothing to do except for hit face and power up Frost Giant.
Yeah. There's not much he can do this turn. He could like
Oh.
equip the True Silver or the Hammer Wrath, but I don't think either of those do too much in this situation.
There's actually a way to see a Frost Giant.
So he's gonna draw
Ooh,
2 cards.
I like that. Effigy is a card that can come off of Kabbalist's Tome. And if it procs on a 10-mana minion, like I assume there's a Yogg in here, or at least a N'Zoth, it could be a Frost Giant. And then Sylvanas could steal it. And then, how's the Magic gonna get bounced? Damn. The point is, you're a power return if you have an option to. It's a good play. This game is the serious game, as Sir Spamslot is on the ropes, so there are no coaches involved. That might be a lie. I think I just saw several cattails. Spams. All right.
So once he played the Bluegill Warrior too, Sir Spamslot should know what he's playing against now.
Right.
Which has me curious.
So there's a couple of key cards here. There's going to be Ice Block and Reno Jackson. Reno Jackson's in hand, and that's going to deter the initial swarm of Murlocs, but should we see a second Anyfin come down?
So he doesn't actually run Ice Block in his list either. He has to get it off the... No, he has to get it off the Kabbalist Tome.
Ooh, yikes. That's going to be a problem. Ooh, yeah, okay. Let's make sure we let chat know when we're close to fatigue. How many cards are left in the deck? That's absolutely something I am annoyed that casters don't do when I'm watching a Hearthstone stream. So I'll do my best to relay that information to you guys.
Right now, Jedi is losing the fatigue race, 18-21.
Hey, Roy. That's Murloc Paladin's game plan. Not relevant information.
It's not, but it could. Hey, it could happen. You never know. This Reno Mage might do a good job at stalling.
It could.
I think it's honestly going to come down to good Reno turn or Kabbalist Tome giving him some good secrets.
On the defensive end, yeah, but it's going to come down to good aggressive board control from Spam. I mean, he's got to end the game somehow, and unless he outlasts both Anyfins, that's going to be hard. All right, so we've got 2 Bluegills, 1 Anyfin. That means there are 2 Murloc War Leaders, 1 Anyfin, and 1 Ivory Knight left in the deck. That could be spawning Murlocs. Oh, wow, look at that next level play. I love it. I mean, a Hearthstone player that's just like, play my mana, pass, your turn, multitask, would just ping off that Murloc without a second question. No, Sir Spamslot knows what he's doing. He knows that those charge Murlocs are a key to Jedi Ninja's victory. What he doesn't know is that Tyrion's also, and that he just threw his polymorph out the window, and Tyrion's coming down next turn.
Yeah, I have a feeling Tyrion's definitely coming because there was just a polymorph used. He's feeling pretty good.
See the reaction? A cock to the side, a quizzical expression. Damn, he's playing Tyrion in this deck? How do you find room for that? The answer is Mage doesn't have that many super fast decks besides Tempo Mage. And he can afford to cut cards like, say, Humility and other defensive cards in favor of Blade. Got a Fireball, so there is an answer.
And I like this.
That's natural.
I like that play too, because if he draws like Acidic Swamp Ooze next turn, he can just get rid of the Ashbringer and not worry anymore about it.
Do you think there's any merit to holding the Ashbringer back from the face in fear of Reno?
I guess like if you play it here, you kind of force him into like more of a Reno lineup play, which gets it at least out of his hands. So that way he has to. That way he can actually start worrying about when he's going to burst later.
You're a prophet, Roy. That top deck. Wow!
Told you. What'd I say?
said he's lining up for a top deck Acidic Swamp Ooze. And there it is!
I know.
And Jedi can't burn him out. Oh, here comes the Reno, which will be answered with a quality play, I assume. Probably not actually though. Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, what are some things he could do? He could consecrate True Silver to get rid of Reno and Acidic Swamp Ooze, and then all he has is left is a 1/6, or at that point a 1/4. It's not terrible.
As well.
Would you play what?
Doomsayer as well.
Well, you can't. That's 8 mana, and you only have 9.
Yep. I didn't say anything wrong.
Casters. What are we good at?
Casters. Though he could play Doomsayer. He could play it against a very threatening board, which would more pull out removal than actually clean it up. Yeah, realistically here, can't play the Doomsayer.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go with the Consecration Reno play, or
Yeah, that's
Consecration True Silver. It clears up the board really good and keeps his 3/3 pretty healthy.
He's still got equal pyro to board state.
Yep.
And all damage done here is good damage, because while there is an Alexstrasza is not great keeping you alive through burn, so he's gonna play it out. He's gonna put him to 14. Unless he wants to Arcane Blast, kill the Murloc.
Which it looks like he's going to do. And I actually like this play a lot, because if he didn't do that, then Jedi could have equality'd, left the Twilight Drake alone and just attacked into the Alexstrasza with the 3/3.
Right. So let's keep in mind, we've got one dead of each kind of Murloc, because one of them was polymorphed. Okay, looks like it's clearing. That's going to give him a 2 mana draw, which is very good. Do you think he develops the Doomsayer here? I think so. Doomsayer Frost Giant power up? Seems good.
Yeah, looks like the only... Like, he could also set out the Doomsayer this turn to set up for anything next turn.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
How many...
Alrighty then. Keep in mind additional minions dying to Doomsayer will also power up a top-decked second Solemn Vigil. So, you know, there's reasonings. The Smork is real, as Spam is just looking at burning down Jedi Ninja. And man, is Forbidden Healing going to punish that hard.
This rag is going to punish that.
That's even worse. Oh, man. I think that we're going to see the Paladin take this series. I don't think that Reno Mage is going to be proactive enough to deal with the absurd value that Paladin inherently plays.
He's running out of answers for these big minions. He still has, what, Flame Strike? Not Flame Strike.
Portal.
Flame Lance?
Oh, Flame Lance, yes. It's true.
To get rid of Rag?
Now, looking at card counts, we currently have 16, now 14 cards in Spam's deck and 11 in Jedi's. So what that says to me is that Jedi's been really proactive about drawing. He's gotten a lot of cards cycled through, which is just giving him the natural advantage of card advantage, which is being able to play more bigger stuff. And let's see how this Kabbalist tome is.
Ooh.
Gosh, everyone's got me saying Kabbalist. Really should be Kabbalists.
Kabbalist.
Pretty sure.
That tome wasn't too bad, actually. Polymorph, Forgotten Torch, Frostbolt.
That is a win. Win for Spams a lot. And I think he's probably going to polymorph another Murloc. Yeah, I think it's fine. 21's pretty safe against Reno Mage.
So 4. So he can kill Rag this turn either using both of his burns or using Polymorph, but I'm pretty sure he wants to save Polymorph for the second War Leader.
You could also Frost Nova and play proactively. It's a shame you really can't play that Ronin out here. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Blood Mage Flames? No. Blood Mage.
I think he's going to kill the Rag so that way he's not worried about dying as hard.
Just use the cheaper spells, save the Polymorph from Murlocs. Yeah, that's smart. One really hilarious counter that hasn't been abused here to Murloc Paladin is just Surfinley Murgleton. I mean, it's just so funny when you think you got an OTK, and then all of a sudden you get this Murloc without charge that's just not benefiting from anything. Ooh!
There's a card.
That's really good for Murlocs. And there's a Murloc.
And he gets a War Leader, yeah. That'll be 2 War Leaders if it dies.
And this Polymorph would be a huge loss in tempo.
But if he...
Breaking, okay.
Hmm.
Let's remember, Reno's gone. All life gain is gone for Sir Spams a lot. He has 12 life to work with. And he's very afraid of anything can happen. Because, it's just gonna wreck him. And that's a smile. Is that just lethal?
No, I think he was smiling because of the second polymorph.
Okay. He's close to lethal.
He is.
Ooh, Kings is big
Blessing
here.
of Kings. Blessing of Kings on...
anything.
Well, yeah, you can just put it on Barnes' turn or even and just hit him in the face for 8. Put him at 4 for next turn lethal.
Yeah. I don't see how Spam gets out of this. I think we're going to be seeing a 3-1 series from Jedi here.
Yeah, that play is actually really good here.
Yeah, I really like Ivory Knight from a design perspective. I love the fact that you're concealing what card you get if you're overhealing. So it really gives it additional value in control matchups. Yep. Blessing the Kings. 1 on the Barnes. Going face.
9 to the face, yeah.
Yeah, and that's 3 life.
That's game.
It's an absolute game unless you pull anything off the portal.
I was going to say he could conjure.
Conjurer, okay.
For Ice Block, but I don't think another turn really helps him at all.
I think Conjurer here. Certainly more likely than the portal for saving you.
Yep.
And you've got to just hope that the last 8 include both Anyfens. Frost Nova is also okay against no Anyfen. Ice Barrier is good against no Anyfen. There's that Ice Barrier.
There's Ice Barrier.
Gotta play.
The problem is that's 8 mana. Well, he still has a Frostbolt, right? So he can Frostbolt the Barnes to preserve his life total too. And then just trade with the Ivory Knight, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. That's the play.
Yep.
And it's not enough.
That was actually I think that was better than Ice Block.
Yeah, maybe. Am I bad at math? Yeah, I don't think we have enough left then. I think he's still...
No. Yeah, he'll only have 3, I believe. So it'll be 5 damage coming at him.
Is it 3? It's just 2. Because we've seen 2 Murlocs polymorphed.
Well, yeah, he had one of the charged ones polymorphed and one of the War Leaders polymorphed.
Right.
So he'll get back 1 War Leader and 1 charge. Right. So that's 3.
5.
Oh, yeah, plus... Yeah.
No, 4.
4. We both are not good at math tonight.
No, I mean, you could ask the question, are we good at math ever? Especially considering misplays that I'm sure we've made in Hearthstone. But, I think that the Hearthstone community gives us a little bit of pass on that one. Am I right? And here comes the memes.
So... I think he's just going to Consecration and reinforce this turn. He could also,
He's
because
10 or to 8.
that's still lethal. And this is going to be a decent flame strike, or he could even Firelands Portal plus.
I was crossed out. Oh, baby!
Oh wow! And hero power. Oh, talk about a good 5-drop in this situation.
Yeah, but looking at the 7 cards left in the Paladin deck, it's very likely we're seeing another Anyfin soon, or another
Yes.
Murloc. So, yeah, Surf Spam's Lot has to end this game. And I think Jedi has great resources to stop him from doing that while he waits for his draws. I think that Doomsayer Aldor is going to be a great play here. He's going to be able to clean up even more with a quality Pyromancer, or other ordering. And he's even got the healing for the very last stand.
Yep.
This is interesting. I was not expecting that Portal to turn this around so heavily. Oh, he's got to play the Aldor for sure. He's
Wow.
not?
Didn't it play the Aldor?
Oh no!
So,
That Doomguard's gonna stick. I mean, I guess he's just gonna. Oh, you really wanted that clear. That Doomsayer is just soaking Flame Lance. That's not what you
yeah.
want.
And then
That's too bad.
that
Oh
developed.
man. Blood Mage, also not what you want. He can board clear here to draw a card off a Blood Mage. Looks like he's gonna board clear. Maybe play the Blood Mage afterwards. I think that's better. Really want to slam a Murloc this turn. We've got 2 left and an Anyfin. So you've got 3 out of 5.
Jeez, one
Draw.
more well
That's
leader.
great. Please. Me. That's pretty good odds of drawing. I mean, it's 2 and 5 to get a Murloc.
And he still has what? Solemn Vigil in his deck?
Right. Yeah, so I kind of like chucking the Blood Mage into the bin here for a cycle.
Yeah, because the faster you get that second Anyfin, you can just start to.
Also just knowing that you don't have.
You're cutting out.
I was saying I think it's better not to board clear here.
Mm.
I was really just theorizing about nuking the Blood Mage based on his Pyromancer hover. Am I still cutting out?
No, you're good now.
Turn
How do you like playing Ronin this turn? Or Archmage?
I love playing Ronin.
Ronin clears board.
I think you play Archmage Frost Nova. The next one hits.
Yeah,
Survives.
yeah. On that, if the Anyfin doesn't kill you right away.
Right. There's the other War
That's
Leader.
the War Leader. So he can play War Leader,
Yeah.
which there will be.
War Leader for that clear. Does. Oh man. Man, Spam has been putting up a really solid fight here. Really doing a good job. These have been some great games here. I hope all you in the chat are enjoying them just as much as we in the casting booth are. Looks like we might be seeing the Murloc thrown to the bin here. Just wants to guarantee that death. Wants to dodge a Polymorph Boar, perhaps. Or perhaps that Frost Nova, like we talked about, just locking it down so it doesn't.
I don't know. I still think you have to play it after the board clear, just because like he does have 2 arcane missiles, and you just want to like make him remove it. And with you seeing 2 polymorphs, the chance of him having another one off of Kabbalah Stone is. Did he see all the spells off Kabbalah Stone? I think he did actually.
Yep, he's seen them all.
Yeah. So
still also going to give the passive buff to the Murloc summoned via Anyfin.
Yep. So there's no reason to not play it out there.
What are we seeing here from spams, or is he in Camp Seeken?
He could Archmage and cast all 3 arcane missiles, which I think is what he's leaning
Yeah.
towards. Because
Yeah,
that gives him a lot of burst.
he's gonna have to hope that Jedi draws the one card that is not gonna get him his second anything. Well, I guess not. I guess if he draws the draw, it's fine. 'Cause-
Well, so the optimal line is it to be random card that I don't remember, Solomon, and then anything. Because he would want the second anything to be the last card.
he's gonna frost over this, but it won't work. All right, and unless I'm reading this situation wrong, that is the game, and that is going to be a 3-1 win to Jedi Ninja, Lord of the Murlocs, the Paladin himself, and that's going to be Spam's going down with only 1 game taken. Now, when you initially thought Mage versus Paladin, did you think that this would be the outcome?
See, I favor Paladin to the Mage, but that's because I think Forbidden Healing is really good against Mage.
Sure.
But maybe that's just because of my experience playing against Mage.
Right. And he's lining up for the lethal, but yeah, anything would have had to be the last card in the deck
Yep,
for this not to.
because then he would have to Solomon Vigil and then draw it.
Yeah,
Came.
there it is. Well played. And that is going to be our series.
Good game.
Good game indeed. I really want to say well played to both these players. These guys did a great job here. This was a really cool series to watch, and I don't think it's something that you usually see on standard Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So I believe
agree.
we have our players back with us on the mic. I at least am
Yep.
hearing from Jedi. Jedi, why don't you give us a quick minute-long summarization of how you felt about that series?
Oh man, I'm interested to go and watch the VODs and see where I screwed up. There was a lot of times where I had lost count of. I had intended to take notes and keep track of his removal and stuff like that, but with the baby in my arm, I wasn't. I kept no notes. So.
I mean, you had a coach though. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was cool. But the I think I played the Reno Mage 3 times in a row, so I was really starting to get mixed up on which game I was in.
Sure.
And
Bamboozled.
yeah, and I can't believe I got the war leader off of Barnes. That worked exactly like I hoped.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
All right, Spam. How are you feeling about this? And what kind of insanely awesome advice did your kittens give you?
They were more concerned about the things on the screen, so to play with. They wanted me to interact more with the board. So click on things.
So they really weren't helping that much.
No, not really.
Oh, that's
I mean, it was a good series. I feel like there were a couple of clear misplays that I made that I think really made a big difference. Like when I let some cards get burned, by overdrawing and stuff. So those were some easy mistakes that I could have fixed. But all in all, I thought it was a really good series. I mean, it felt a little bit bad using polymorphs on war leaders and 2/1s, but I mean that's what I needed to use them for.
Yeah, that was really too bad there. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for your input. We are gonna jump to a quick 5-minute break, and then we are gonna be back with the battle for Middle Earth. See you then. Welcome back to THL's Monday Madness on the 22nd of August. We are going to head into our second challenge here. But before we do that, Roy, how did you feel about that last series? Was that cool?
Oh, I loved watching it, man. I'm always fascinated by Mage and Paladin games, especially Reno Mage. So I personally have never played Reno Mage except once. So seeing it played was really enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely had a great time watching that series as well. So let me reiterate here for those of you who may be joining us after the break. Um, Monday Madness is a show where we intend to produce creative, competitive, and thematic challenges for the enjoyment of you guys, the audience. And it's really been successful so far, and I'm super happy with the feedback we've gotten. So coming forward, if you guys have any feedback, keep shooting it at us. I mean, constructive, negative, and any kind of criticism. We want to make this the most awesome, enjoyable show possible, especially during the off season where there's not as many other THL things going on. But let me introduce you to our second challenge of the night. We are proud to bring you the Battle for Middle-earth. What we've done here is we've created, as we usually do, a spreadsheet detailing good and evil minions for our players to construct their decks from. We've also assigned them specific classes, which will be representing heroes from the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit universe. So, for example, our Paladin hero leading us off is going to be Aragorn. Very great similarities here. These guys are both really loyal, inspirational people, and they're both good with swords. That's for damn sure. But we're also going to have some other, let's say, lesser-known heroes jumping in here. We have Bjorn, representing Malfurion, the druid. And Bjorn is a character which some of you may not actually know about. He's a really cool guy who chills out on the edge of Mirkwood and likes to turn into a bear. But he actually was very notable in certain battles, such as the Battle of the Five Armies. Representing our good mage, we have Galadriel, the Lady of Light, Lady of Lorien. And while she's slinging a couple fireballs too many, I think you can see the thematic comparison there. Both light-haired, strong women. Looking over to the evil side, however, we have some nasties. Leading off the lineup for the evil side, we have Azog, as played by Garrosh. And he is going to serve as the brutal war chief or clan leader to those under his command. And I think we're going to see some cruel task mastering quite often. Representing our hunter class, we have Lurtz, the Urukai who led the raiding party in Fellowship of the Ring, who is known for nailing down our good friend Boromir. So there's a chance that may happen this series. May have some Feels Bad Mans in the chat. But lastly, and I think most interestingly, we have Gul'dan, who is representing the Necromancer of Dol Guldur. Dol Guldur is a fortress in the middle of Mirkwood, which is a great dark forest, and the Necromancer is actually Sauron. But it was when he was kind of hoarding his power, getting ready for the Lord of the Rings stories. And he's going to actually have several forms here. He's going to be able to play out the armor of Sauron, or as you know him, Mal'Ganis, which will protect his soul from harm. He's going to be able to drop his great eye, Cthulhu, which will total his enemies' boards in many cases. Also included are a lot of other thematically aligned legendaries, which we'll continue to go through as the series progresses. But if our players are ready to go, I don't want to hold you guys waiting anymore. Let's get into this. Hey, Roy. You excited for this?
Oh, absolutely. This is what I've been waiting for all week.
Yeah, so Aroy has actually been a big component in helping us lay out the spreadsheet and kind of choose which cards we want to be where. For example, choices such as, are infested wolves allowed? Yes, we would say that they are quite similar to the orgs of Isengard and Gundabad, I believe. And so if you take a look here, Ooh, we've got some legendaries already. So let me lay these out for you. In the hand of Jedi Ninja, playing as Lurtz, we have the Watcher in the Water, the great beast that guards the gates to Moria. You may remember it is what caused them to be trapped in there and completely cut off their other options. Drums in the deep is what I just heard there. The Balrog 2 will be represented here, and he will be represented by a Fire Lord that I'm sure you all know. So some little Entlings summoned here, alongside one of the bats, which orcs so love to ride. Particularly fiery one at that. We've just seen a legendary hop into Spam's hand, and that is Malorn, which, if any of you have seen the Hobbit films, you will know that the leader of the Mirkwood elves, the Elven King Thranduil, rides upon such a steed. So we've taken this as our prerogative to include Malorn as the great Megaloceros of Thranduil. Now, we've got several options here as far as lines of play go for Lurtz, our evil representative. He could summon a small Mumakil and attempt to gain some extra advantage, or he could summon one of these boring worms that often is used to carry the armies of evil into combat.
It's doing a good job. About to set up to lead his army out now. What you mean?
Yeah, it's the Initiator. Oh, and we have seen a very important character just drawn. Some of you may go, Millhouse Manastorm? Who on earth is he? Well, he's Frodo. Frodo carries a great burden, which can be a huge disadvantage against the forces of evil. Yes, he's powerful, but when he hits the board, Sauron and his Ringwraiths are going to fully acknowledge his threat, the threat that he provides, and they are going to be able to take serious measures, such as lining up orc snipers and unleashing the Hounds of Isengard to really cause some problems for our protagonist here. Oh man, do you think we're going to see that great big Ent coming down in a couple turns?
Yeah, I have a feeling, but who knows? This Hunter deck might get out of hand pretty quickly.
All right. Hey Roy, what are you feeling here as far as this series goes? Do you have any predictions?
So looking at the deck choices, and what we've seen both of them bring, class-wise, I personally think that it is going to be favored towards Jedi in this one.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. No, I like Sir Spam's a lot. My bad. I got the pictures mixed up.
Okay, yeah, I think that the Aragorn deck is very scary, and some of you may have noticed we are establishing this challenge in wild format, so as to allow for cool legendaries like Malorn. What this means is that certain spells, do keep in mind there are some banned spells. No Call of the Wilds are going to be played here. I don't know if we'll see a Call of the Wild played in the second half of Monday Madness ever, to be honest, because fuck Call of the Wild. But Aragorn's going to have the ability to muster for battle some troops, which could be impactful. What we're seeing here is a dropping of the Ancient of War, a Mighty Ent, who is going to taunt up here and make it difficult for Lurtz to find his target on the Shape Changer. But
it did get sniped, which makes it a little bit easier for Jedi to deal with, since he does have Eagle Bow plus the Elk.
One thing I'd like to point out here quickly is the appearance of the Mouth of Sauron. One of Sauron's chief lieutenants, actually, who is being represented by Baron Rivendare. Any of you who have seen the extended cut of Return of the King will know him as the guy who comes out of the gate and promptly gets his head lopped off. But unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing him. I think that Lurtz decided that he can handle this on his own, and he doesn't need any assistance, per se. Oh, man!
That's a big elk.
Now, Aroy, why don't you tell us who Finley is representing today?
Sir Finley. So, Sir Finley is representing today Gollum or Smeagol, which is really fascinating because he does have a nice eyepiece, which reminds us of a ring we all learned to love.
And hate.
Depends on which
Yeah.
side you're on.
I really like that representation due to the fact that Gollum's going to give you a advantage, at least initially. It'll seem like an advantage of giving you different paths that you wouldn't usually, and being able to play your character completely differently. But it could also be a downside. If you decide to swap away from a hero power that, say, heals you or pings the board into something where you may need one of those, it could be a problem for you. Now, I also want to acknowledge how much work this Timber Warg is really doing. It's giving an incredible amount of board control to the Hunter player. And, oh, baby! Look at that. That's crazy.
This game's getting a little out of hand for Sir Spams a lot. Set.
Fighting Urukai are not called the greatest fighters in Middle-earth for no reason, as the first of them is certainly displaying here. I believe that Bjorn and the Ents are kind of on the ropes here. That Violet Teacher is going to help. A little bit of assistance from a knowledgeable Magi or Elf. Pay attention!
He definitely has to develop some creatures. But
now, interestingly, do you think you would have developed a Panther there instead of giving +1/+1 to your board?
yes, I personally would have, because I would have liked to match his 3 minions with 3. Plus your hero power equals like almost like his weapon.
Yeah.
But it's actually just dead.
I will hunt you down. And down goes Bjorn. And it's a victory for Lurtz. And I think this time he escaped the blade of Aragorn, which culled him so thoroughly in the films. So moving into this next match, how do you think the players are going to approach it?
I don't know what classes to expect. This is going to be a good match.
This is going to be Azog, the great commander of the forces at the Battle of Five Armies, against the king. It is Aragorn. How do you feel this matchup's going to shake out?
I gotta give it to Sir Spams a lot. Like, looking at the deck list of Aragorn is just insane, as we have all seen that type of deck before, and we've all either loved or hated.
I think it's safe to say that Aragorn is going to rely on some motivational surprises, you could say, that may be called in by certain reinforcements from Rohan. Drop around turn 6. But let me just take a moment here to identify for you these couple of legendaries. Malkarok is standing in for Gothmog, the commander of the Orcish army at Minas Tirith, featured in Return of the King. He was, in fact, slain by Aragorn in the extended cut of the film, and he's that fantastic guy who has the wonderfully disfigured face that we all love to look at. But as for that 10-mana card, Aaroy, tell me about Deathwing.
So Deathwing we have as Smaug, the dragon. I went blank for a second.
Sure.
So he's gonna be looking to light these forces of good on fire.
Yeah. Here comes the Shield Maiden of Rohan, coming to stand against the darkness. I don't think we'll be seeing that card played.
To be noted too, this warrior deck also has Gollum in it.
Oh, it does. Yeah. So
and we will also be seeing 2 other legends, which will be
Trixie Smeagol will provide information to both sides if it leads him to his precious. So we will see him supporting both good and evil in this series. I think what's fascinating that has just been drawn is the King of Rohan. We see Theoden. Now, we chose Bolvar to represent Theoden due to the fact that initially Theoden was actually quite unsure about joining the War for the Ring. And so as he sits in your hand, he's going to kind of be tentative about if he wants to get in there. But as more and more of his people fall, he's going to have no choice but to enter the fray, and he will do it gloriously. Another thing of note here is that hard removal is pretty much banned out here. We're not going to be seeing too many cases of, oh, big scary smog. Meh. Oh, not scary smog. We're going to be seeing this absolutely idiotic servant of evil here who just thinks that pain is the best thing, which I personally don't know who would ever think that. But Azog is certainly having no problems with pissing him off, as cards are cards, and cards are a good thing. So we're lining up into the fateful turn, the return of the Riders of Rohan, the reinforcements, and all of the let's just say hope comes along with it. And here they are. Play the fanfare. The return. Oh, that was not epic. I'm sorry.
Wait. Did he just get one or two?
He just got one secret. All right. Well, okay. Sometimes hope fails, and I think we might see Smog hit the board this game, and that would be absolutely disastrous for Aragorn in this current state, as he doesn't really have that many options for dealing with a massive dragon.
No.
I'm scared for him.
And actually, in his deck, I don't think there is too many either.
Yeah.
I don't actually.
Gonna have to turn this around fast. Now, keep in mind that Theoden could do that, especially off of a muster for battle. Right. So, Smog. Why do we choose Deathwing as Smog? Besides the fact that big dragon. Smog hits Lake Town. Smog burns it. And then when Smog is defeated, it's simple, it's unquestionable, and if Azog decides to put his coins on Smog, he says, I trust that you will win this game. It's going to be an all-in, and that's for sure. This is definitely the kind of rally that the future King of Gondor needs to do if he wants to take out this massive orc.
Well, that's what's scary is we don't. Jedi doesn't really have a way to deal with this board state currently, and that Sir spams a lot next turn with that quartermaster. It's gonna be pretty scary.
Yeah, I think that Aragorn is going to be able to call on what I would say is quite a rallying speech. We've seen a lot of really aggressive pressure here, trying to close out the game here. Let's see what advantage Gothmog will summon us up for us this time. And it's an advantage. A slow one, but certainly a steady one. Now we've seen one of the elite Urukai come down here in the form of Korkron Elite. And he did some damage, but I really think that this will not be the day that the hope of men fails. And I think that this is a beautiful advantage. And I think that we're going to be seeing quite a lovely snowball here from Aragorn.
How about you tell us about those two cards Sir Spamsalot just drew?
Oh, yeah. So let's start with Bolf. Bolf Ramshield is here standing in for King Dane II, who came to the reinforcement of Thorin at the Battle of the Five Armies, leading his dwarves from the Iron Hills. He actually later went on to become the King of the Mountain during the time frame of Lord of the Rings. But what I think is far more notable here is the King of the Dead. And as was in the stories, the King of the Dead is going to provide a massive advantage to Aragorn, and though it'll be a little bit different per se than the summons of the hordes of ghosts that were summoned in the adaptations and the source, I think we got a pretty nice lock here for what the King of the Dead is really going to do.
Yeah, he knows what the secret is too. Like, there's no way Jedi doesn't at this point. So, knowing that, like, clearing that damage does not feel good.
Yeah. And Azog chooses retreat as Aragorn takes his victory triumphantly. I would say that was pretty spectacular.
That was. So, what do you think Jedi is gonna? Do you think Jedi is gonna bring back the same deck, or do you think he's gonna lead with his next one?
Well, let's see. He's gotten some information here on what the orc has to offer. Doesn't know much of anything, as is usually the case, about Sauron himself. So, yeah, I think we might see the orc come back. We don't. We see Galadriel. Galadriel is here with her elves to punish this orc for his impeachment of Lord Lorien. Excuse me. You may know that there are magical barriers surrounding Lothlorien, and anyone who is not supposed to be there, well, they're not going to have a good time trying to fix them.
There we go.
A couple figures I'd like to point out here. On the side of evil, we actually have the second in command of the Uruk-hai forces after the inevitable demise of Lurtz. We have Ugluk, who, from the novels, was the sole commander. Lurtz was actually added as a character to give them someone to fight at the end. But Ugluk is here to lead any battalions of Uruk-hai in a battle that are here. And he's going to try and do some face smashing. Whereas on the side of Galadriel, we see one of the members of the Fellowship, Boromir, makes his appearance. And should he fall, I think it's safe to say that vengeance will come the way of the orcs. In the form of a lot of missiles. Oh!
That worked out really well.
Have I ever seen a more polarizing spell slinger? Wow! The worst spell, and arguably one of the best if you're talking arena. That's crazy.
It's pretty crazy in this too, for value.
Yeah, so this is gonna give the Lady of Light a unforeseen option to kind of tap into the past or the future and foretell the coming of a minion. And that's going to be applied in really interesting ways. I really can't wait to see how this goes down. So we're seeing one of those really yucky spider eggs that are all over Mirkwood. And this is going to be slightly discouraging to chuck your missiles out here. Yeah, okay. There's a back thing I had to handle, but so far I'm really excited to see how this game shakes out.
Yeah, both hands look very well. Sir Spamslot hand is on the higher end too.
I think that Azog has some real key resources here. He can use that Inner Rage to activate the Spider's Egg and some of the beasts inside, and he could even drop a Rampage on it if he wanted to get some extra value out of that.
True.
MT is into club, as our host says, and that is absolutely true. Emperor Tharasan today is representing Thror, the king under the mountain, the grandfather of Thorin Oakenshield, and the man who was consumed by greed. And his greed will certainly pay off for the elves in this case, as he decides to share some of his riches, making the abilities of Galadriel a lot more accessible. But I do know that Galadriel has access to some spell breakers who could turn that scary-looking spider egg that's all pissed off and infused with nasty dark magic into a harmless little O2.
Yeah, I don't think that's where he wanted the first arcane missiles to go. Sadly,
This is
I think what he was hoping for was the arcane missiles, the first one, and then arcane blast to finish off.
well, sometimes magic can be unpredictable, and it certainly seemed to be so today.
So now, what do you think Jedi's gonna do here? Just develop the Berserker?
I think he'd be more than happy to develop a attack troll. That's gonna certainly be a problem to deal with, as you hit them, they just keep getting stronger, and that's sure not something that Galadriel wants to see right now. She's got a slew of secrets and high-cost cards, and this egg is really causing problems for her. So he's checking for counterspell. That's a good check. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Whew. So this is some pretty aggressive pressure. And I mean, orcs are known for their aggression, and it is certainly being displayed here, as it seems like the Kingdom of Lorien may be falling to the horrors of the Orcish horde.
So that water elemental might help this Sir Spams-A-Lot get back out of his mess.
Maybe. I mean, summoning the powers of the waters is something that Elrond employed to summon water horses. It's natural that Galadriel should be able to summon a water elemental. But I don't really think it'll be enough to stop the oncoming tide of pressure that is this really deadly evolved spider from Mirkwood, an attack troll, and an Uruk-hai elite. This is just not looking good.
No, I think they'll only play this turn is to a water elemental and then Firelands Portal. Hope for a good taunt or something.
Yeah, I think so.
But
as he doesn't know if there will be a trigger. Ooh, this is an interesting decision.
Yeah, but he's just dead.
I think he's trying to bluff him.
Oh, into trading.
Yeah, he's trying to.
You can see it on Sir Spams-A-Lot's face. He's like, I hope he takes the bait.
Yeah, and Jedi's certainly thinking about it, but nope. And that is just grim to see the Orcish hordes conquer such a beautiful land.
Yes, it is.
And now Galadriel and Beorn are going to have to go up against the Lord of Darkness himself, the definition of evil in Middle Earth, Sauron. How do you foresee these games playing out?
I don't know. So the Sauron deck has some heat to it, with the Eye of Sauron in it. So if it goes to the late game, that eye might just win it for Sauron himself.
All right, we're seeing an appearance once more from Galadriel. She has been chosen as the champion of light, and she certainly has her own ring of power. And given that Sauron does not have his, I think this will be a fair fight. We're seeing some corrupted humans here in a librarian whose mind has been hollowed out by the whispers of Sauron. We see a councilman who's been driven mad by what he's seen. And we see the Balrog, Durin's Bane. Let's hope it doesn't get pitched by this crazy. That would be.
Yeah, I think he's actually pretty scared of what he could pitch with that librarian there.
I don't know if you want to pitch any of those cards, to be honest. I mean, maybe the PO.
Yeah, all of those cards are very, very good. That's a lot of burst in his hand too.
Holy jeez. Yeah, I'm
8,
scared
11.
here. I mean, Aragorn certainly locked his win up, but Sauron has had time to scout these two decks. He knows what's coming, and aside from the legendaries, the good side really doesn't know what's going on with this deck. And it has to take a win in order to take advantage of information gained here. Now, we're seeing a Dark Bomb, which is going to resolve in a duplicate, which is okay. But
it keeps the councilman alive, which is pretty important.
yeah. I mean, the Dark Bomb's good. No, I'm saying the duplicate's not terribly great. I
Oh,
mean, you don't
no.
really need that many Elven spellcasters right now. You really need, stuff to get onto the board with. And man, this is looking semi-grim, but I do think that coin missiles play or coin blast play could come out favorably.
Yeah, I think I like that here too. I just don't know. Yeah, I think it's missiles because it could hit the possessed villager and the councilman.
Right. Summoning a violet teacher, one of the blue casts of wizards.
Or
Oh,
they
no!
just like to go face. Apparently, his missiles, these games just want to be random.
I think there's some real dark magic going on here from Sauron, guiding the missiles into his form, which has plenty of sustenance, preserving those humans which he has twisted to his will on the board. Now the question will be, can he follow it up? Because, if this is Zoo, you'll get this board and you say, okay, Zoo plays out its hand, lol. But in this case, you
Wait.
see a
Oh.
there from Sauron. His haste via his undoing, as a clear missing of 4 damage is going to hurt his game plan here. And I think that this might be the opportunity for the elves to come back into it. Now we're going to be seeing some kind of clear on this 1/1, I'm pretty sure. But how do you envision that the Galadriel is going to root out the corrupted officials of Gondor?
I don't know. This hand's a little awkward for doing it, unfortunately. Yeah. Duplicate with 3 Kieran Tor mages. Soon, I think. Yeah, I think soon he might just have to Arcane Intellect just to try to get removal for this councilman. Otherwise, it's going to put in too much work.
Well, and he's got a blast in hand. He can do that.
Oh, that's true.
All right, let's get pitched. What sacrifices must the darkness make? Let's sacrifice the Usher of Souls. Usher of Souls, a very beneficial card for him, as it would allow him to increase the vision of the Eye of Sauron, to allow it to see into further corners of the earth. And this is going to give a great advantage for an Elven Soldier of Rivendell to come in here and really make an impact on this board. Man. That's just not very nice plays here for Sauron. Somebody's been sitting on the crapper too long. All right, there's the Drain Life. There's what you need. Just going to kind of siphon that shield away.
Do you prefer that over Hellfire here? Like, not knowing the Direwolf was coming, but like...
Yeah,
because you would have got a 4/4 out of it.
I think so. I think that Drain Life is going to be a relatively low impact card, and I think that it's not worth the tempo, especially knowing your hand. I think you already have a really, really good board to slam that Balrog down there and just let him wreck face. It looks like the Lady of Lorien is really taking it back here. It's her Magi are coming into play. Ooh. In our midst, we have a traitor. Rima Wormtongue, the mole of Saruman, has appeared. And he's going to be summoning more to the cause of Isengard and the Great Eye. Union of the Two Towers. And we're seeing another duplicate coming off there, so Galadriel is employing some really powerful magic here to allow her soldiers to continue to return to the fight over and over again, protecting their essence and calling in an ally to assist them. Now, I think it's Balrog time.
I agree. I think Jedi's going to clear the Silver Moon Guardian and then drop the Balrog.
Ancient evil.
But he might just leave it and go face.
Durin's Bane has come. Balrog Morgoth.
Sarah Spams a lot is not happy to see that.
Oh no. Oh boy. That is just terribly hard to deal with, and the option here really is just more options.
Well, that ice block is going to be pretty good here.
Yeah, a protective shroud to keep the darkness away, but it's not looking good here for
No.
Resident Lady of Lorien. Ooh, I'm not sure I like that freeze in the face. I think I may have preferred killing off that token.
Oh, 1/1. Yeah. Because knowing that he runs like power overwhelmings and other buffs.
This is going to be a board clear for Sauron. It's nothing more than a power overwhelming, a swing, and a shadow flame. And even Slimy Grima can stay in hiding. Doesn't need to come out. And that Balrog is just going to smash down on the arcane shield.
Ooh.
Galadriel. This flip, I don't think it does too much here.
Well, it allows him to attack face. And set up lethal for next turn. Well, he's going to have lethal off the rag. Yeah.
Oh, you're right, with the power overwhelming attack.
So, either way.
Whoa! Missing damage again. Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, yeah.
Occasionally, even the Dark Lord of Evil makes mistakes. It's okay. He's still gonna crush your soul.
And that's not going to do it.
Oh, man.
He's currently only sitting on 4 damage, so just playing out a bunch of dudes and hoping Balrog chooses to hit one of them instead is not a bad idea.
Yeah. Oh boy. If we see anything active here, more corrupted men and women from Rune are not gonna make this easy for Age. Oh man, the hordes of darkness have just come to play.
Yes, they have.
Not much to do about it. Oh. This could be the end, right here, right now. Not yet.
Yep.
But a Spellbreaker is going to prove not to be what is needed for hope to prevail.
Yes.
Sauron's infinite hordes will overwhelm Galadriel. And today, evil has triumphed. But will it triumph next time? Find out when we repeat this challenge. So after next week, we're actually going to put up a poll to ask you, out of the challenges we've broadcast on our, by that point, 4 episodes of Monday Madness, which ones you particularly enjoyed? Which ones you would hope to see come back the soonest? Because I think we'll return most of these challenges to use, but there are certainly ones that players have enjoyed watching more. Now let's just wrap up our show real quick with a quick 5-minute interview with our players. 5 minutes maximum. Players, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, why don't you leave us off then, Dark Lord of Evil? How did it feel crushing the light in your fists?
It didn't feel good. You know, normally I take the side of light and justice, and it felt a little weird. So supporting the enemy, but winning was cool.
Winning was cool. You really tried And you piloted those forces of the light with, really commendable honor and strength, but in the end, it just was too much. How did you feel handling that terror of a Balrog that showed up there at the end?
Oh yeah, that Balrog just totally destroyed all of the forces of good I had marshaled. So, and I didn't have Gandalf to come and deal with the Balrog for me this time.
Yes, we didn't see the appearance of the Grey
Arch-
Wizard.
Yeah, Archmage Antonidas would have been helpful with a lot of the cheap spells that I had.
Yeah, and it really seemed like the forces of darkness were clouding your vision. Those missiles just would not go where you needed them.
That's true.
Man, how about that Frodo though? I felt so bad that you had to play Millhouse Mana Storm.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing good can ever come of Millhouse Manastorm.
No, I was like, oh gosh, what am I gonna do on this turn? Oh wait, now I have a bunch of free spells. That'll work.
Yeah, I think it is safe to say, however, that if Frodo can execute a lethal blow against Sauron, that the series will immediately be achieved as a victory for the good.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, something to keep in mind for future deck building. And if any of you in the audience are interested in playing this challenge with your friends, we are going to provide a link to the spreadsheet in the comments of the post that we put up to advertise the show. So before we leave, are there any last words that you all want to convey, players, caster?
I mean, if everybody should sign up for this. It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's pretty challenging to try and build like quality decks with a greatly limited card pool, but I think it really puts your deck building skills to the test.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that because we really don't have too many outlets for that in Hearthstone right now. I mean, outside of first 1 or 2 weeks maybe of an expansion where it's like, of a full card expansion where it's, okay, we can make some new decks. The Zoth Paladin will take over for a couple weeks. And then we find Zoo again, and then we find Aggro Shaman, and then we find Dragon Warrior, and it's just net deck, net deck, net deck. So I really enjoy the opportunity to see new and different things here, and that's really what we try and bring you foremost. Hey, Roy, any parting words?
No, I agree with both of them. It's really fun to do the deck building and watching both players on stream smile or laugh at different parts because one has a polymorph or a Tyrion or anything else. It's really enjoyable just to watch facial expressions too.
For sure. And I hope you and the audience enjoyed. Why don't we get our teaser for next week up on the screen real fast before we close things out? And as our back end, as my co-host is doing that, let's thank him. Give it up for Nade for doing an amazing job on the production here.
To everybody's favorite back end.
The real MVP.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be having a challenge of Magic versus Might. The decks in this challenge are going to limit you to, if you are Might, weapons, and minions who are not casting anything magical. And if you are Magic, spells and minions who are, casting some. So I think we're going to have some real interesting decks there. And the actual competitive end, the first chapter, which is usually standard mode, hasn't been decided on yet, but we will be giving you details about that as the week progresses. And I hope you will all tune in to the next episode of Monday Madness. Thank you for watching.